It's a time for more packages from China. Let's go. Hey, welcome back to the channel. It's awesome that you're tuning in. In today's video we are going to be doing chit chat about repro games, or stuff you can actually buy everywhere. And I think it's quite interesting to see what you can actually do. So if you want to play on Sonic and Knuckles and putting in virtual racing on it, I have no idea why I'm doing this, because that makes no sense. However, I want to focus actually on not this particular combination and original games. Nope, we're going to be chit-chatting about reproduction games. Sometimes I've been chit-chatting about it, what kind of different ones you have out there, but I think it's quite interesting when you're going to be looking at the different options, because when it comes to quality, oh boy, there's a lot of difference when it comes to that. Let's start off with this one. It's absolutely garbage. These three games are great examples like what kind of quality you can expect when buying them from AliExpress or other place. I've been checking out all kinds of different repros, but I can tell you it was a mix, let's say, in a roller coaster of, let's say, different kind of qualities. So let's start off with this particular one, the Street Fighter 2 edition. So this is a great case of getting the cheap to the cheap. This is absolutely the most horrible quality you can get. And sometimes you're not paying like $6, or let's say you're paying $6 for it, or you're just paying a little bit more, depending like what kind of seller. So when you're going to be looking into the, let's say, overall PCB, this is really cheap quality, this tiny PCB. And I think the biggest problem we're facing is having these chips. These chips just fall off sometimes randomly. What you can do is putting some hot glue on to make sure it doesn't happen. But yeah, this is one of those things that you need to be very careful if you're going to be spending your money on these things. And I think this is the biggest letdown if you want to just play a game. Let's say you're having the Street of Rage Sonic hack. It's just a fun thing to have in your collection. But if these things get broken fairly easy, and not even to mention the shells, because these things are completely knockoff and very cheap plastic. And yeah, ordering a couple of these games, I realized this is the stuff you want to absolutely avoid. So moving on to one of my favorite hacks is the Kirby and Sonic. It's absolutely a funny combination. But this isn't so much better, let's say, overall condition. As you can see over here, we do have a very thick, better plastic case, and it's even like stuck together with, let's say, 2 screws. So the overall quality of this cartridge, I paid exactly the same amount of money, and the seller just sold me just a completely different cartridge. And even if you're going to be ordering like 5 games from the same seller, it's just going to be a hit or miss with the quality. So you can see, even to remove the 2 screws, it's still going to be quite difficult to open up. I don't want to break it, but sometimes it does happen. All in the name of science. So in here we're having the PCB. You can see the way how they assembled this is slightly different. We don't have this piece of plastic, so I just want to remove it to showcase. You can see I have like a lot of struggles getting this thing loose. So when it comes to the quality, I think this is just going to be an overall better experience. You can see the attachment, and this is very interesting, but also very important, because if you're going to be slapping in the cartridge into your machine, yeah, this thing needs to be attached to the shelf just like it should be, like an original cartridge. Otherwise you're going to be pushing it through the case itself. The pins are the same kind of, let's say, color, but you can just see that it is going to be slightly overall better quality. So let's do a quick comparison, what you can just see over here. And here you can just, if you're going to be zooming in, you can see the pins are slightly better, like it's also a little bit longer. And this is just the stuff that you want to have. And also when it comes to, let's say, the chip itself, everything is just a way better quality. This says here Woody 16B single version 1.2. So this thing is actually produced in 2019. But yeah, these are like old chips that they're going to be rewriting. However, so this is just another, let's say, this is a slightly better overall configuration. If this chip is having the same problem like this one, that is of course a different story that we need to figure out. But they're not interchangeable. When you can just actually see in here, you do have the holes for the PCB, but of course the other parts are not in here, so we cannot just interchange the shells. So the ultimate Mortal Kombat cartridge is a great example, and it's like a little bit of a double feeling I'm having with this. So first of all, the cartridge quality, it's even better than the one from this particular model with the 2 screws. The unfortunate part is that when it comes to the freaking screws, one just fell out. Yeah, seriously, like that's absolutely unforgivable. Maybe this is just reusing the wrong kind of screws, but it just fell out, and this is absolutely one of those quality issues. So they are using special PCBs in this particular model, and this for the good reason, because this is a completely different level of a game. And opening up is not even that easy too. But what will we find in the inside? In here we're finding the next level of a PCB. And yeah, this is just a simple reason because this is just going to be in different level, because it's going to be using the Altera Max chip and we're going to be needing way much more storage. The unfortunate part is that when you're going to be looking at the pins, it's quite filthy. I don't know if you can even clean it up, but there's something I'm going to be needing to do because this is going to be giving us issues in the future. But this isn't very expensive, maybe from, let's say, in price perspective. Let's say they're asking like around $5 for this. They're asking like $9 or $10. And this, I think this was like $20, even $30. So, but when it comes to these Chinese versions, and again, this is just one of those, let's say, cartridges. You pay for it and you do get yourself overall okay quality beside the freaking screws. So there is another one that I just wanted to showcase and did a full video about, and that is like the ultimate version you can get when it comes to reproductions, or at least games that are like absolutely next level. This thing looks authentic, and when you're going to be paying over maybe $50 for a game or around that amount of money, you're getting like very good overall quality. And this is nothing to be compared, but I think if you have like a game that you really want to play, like this custom, let's say Doom Resurrection, yeah, and you're paying a good amount of money for this, you do get quality that you can actually enjoy for many years to come. But let's deep dive into the games and what kind of clones and weird games do we have? This cartridge was way more expensive than all the other versions that I bought, and the main reason is very simple. As you can see over here, they are using a completely different PCB. In my previous videos, I did review quite some different homebrew cards, and most of them have these very cheap and very horrible, let's say homebrew card versions with a lot of plastic. But you can see that the PCB quality is way better than this previous review that I made. In other words, let's take a closer look at the game and let's see what we're going to get. Alright, so with this game they did some changes with the intro. That's the first thing that we're going to look at, is they changed the font of the text itself, and they changed out the intro with the character. Like Mr. X is completely green, as you can see. He's like the Hulk. I think they did it because of the Battletoads are green, and there's a funny detail. They changed it out, but let's take a close look at the title screen. So the hack had been released by Xandra in 2017 and has the extra text Battletoads and Double Dragon. Alright, the font over here is also changed. We're having survival mode. It's very cool to play with together with your body. But let's go to the play one, because I wanted to show you the character selection screen. Okay, so we can play all the characters from, let's say, the Battletoad and also the enemies. But they did not do a full mod. So in other words, we can still play with some normal enemies from the Street of Rage game. I think it's a pretty cool mod, but we're going to try out some enemies and see how they are playing in game. And are the enemies even fun to play with? That's something we're going to find out. So the first character in many characters they changed out is Pimple. Pimple is a very cool character to play with. It's very powerful, but he is really shallow, and that is something that is pretty damn annoying. So it's more like similar with Max, and I think I did hear some sound effects from the original characters. That's something I don't really like. But okay, so let's enjoy the gameplay and let's see what we can do. So next up, let's check out Billy from the Double Dragon franchise, and I think this is one of the better characters to play with, and the reason why, because of the speed, but the moveset itself is very limited if you're looking at the previous character I've checked out. Billy is a fun character. I don't know what the hell was that, but the power move more like the Hadouken. You're pressing forward and the punch, you can see you have this knee attack or tiger knee, but in the end it's very limited what you can do. Alright, so like the previous Battletoad, Sid is really slow. And what I do like about these characters, they can still grab the original weapons and it looks not really bad. But when you're looking at the moveset, it's very limited again. This move is pretty cool. Forward punch, and it's more like the Battletoads way. You can hit multiple enemies very easily this way, but in the end, when you're looking at this character, you only have a couple of moves, and it's not, in my opinion, a really big fun to play with this guy. Okay, so next up is my favorite, Rash from the Battletoads. He is a really great character to play with. He has amazing speed in the game, and not to forget his shoe that will kick ass. In the end, it's a very fun character to play with, and this is what I'm thinking the best character you can get at this moment for the Battletoads homebrew game or hacked version. As you can see, we have a lot of speed. It's still glitching out a little bit. Some things are not like it should be, but in the end, I think it's not a big of a deal. It's a fun character to play with, and we got a lot of speed, and I like it. Okay, so let's try Jimmy, but I can already spoil that Jimmy is basically the same like the other Double Dragon character. The moveset is very similar, and that's something that I think is a little bit of a bummer. When you look in the same with the Battletoads, there were some, let's say, minor differences, but with the characters from Double Dragon, you can see even the power moves, the Hadouken version is exactly the same. So, the Jimmy and the other Double Dragon characters are more or less the favorite characters you can play with in this game.